What's up, guys? This is the Board Game Roamer, and I'm here to do a playthrough of Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage by WizKids, published by WizKids. This is part of the D&D Adventure System. There are several other WizKids Dungeons & Dragons productions, board games like this. This is kind of a little bit of a special playthrough, though, because one of you guys, Gregory,
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
I might. One of you guys made a request, you made a comment on the unboxing and said that this was in your Amazon cart and that you were kind of considering it. So I thought, that you like the components, but you weren't sure about the gameplay. You're considering it. So I thought, well, why don't I just do a scenario for you? So you've seen the components. Now you can see kind of how it plays. I will preface this with I am not a pro at this. I do okay, I think, but I'm certainly not a pro, so I may get some rules wrong, but hopefully you will get a good idea of just what all is involved in this and how this game plays, and you can make a decision for yourself if in fact this is something that you're looking forward to. So, alright, having said that, I guess we will get started. So the first thing, a couple things. Number one, I'm going to be doing, I'm going to have the rulebook by me for clarification if I need it. You've probably seen several people do the first adventure mopping up, so we're not going to do that because that's the one that everybody does, so we're not going to do that. We're going to do the second adventure, okay? And part of the second adventure is we have some special setup that has to happen. So, in this adventure, basically, we are trying to, it's called Toll Bridge, we're trying to defeat 2 zombie beholders, which look like this, and are redonkulously evil, tough. So, but first we have to do the adventure setup. We're using the dungeon tiles. There's basically 2 sets of tiles. One set has this dungeon look to it. The other one is like a cave system. So we're using the dungeon tiles. We're going to start on the entry well tile, which I've already got. But then we have to find the underground river tile, or underground river. So let me find it right quick. Underground river, there it is. So there's that tile. Then it says shuffle the rest, take 3 tiles from it. I'll take the top 3 because I've already shuffled these. Alright, so here's the rest of the ones we haven't shuffled. It says take this tile. We're going to shuffle all 4 of these together and just keep shuffling until I forget which one's which. Gonna keep forgetting which one's which. Hopefully. Alright, so we've done that. And it says take 3 tiles, shuffle into those piles. Then without looking at any of the tiles, put the shuffled underground river tile and 3 tiles put the shuffled underground tile and 3 tiles in the dungeon stack after the 8th tile. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put that stack in there without looking. Put that back over there. Get them squared up there. Good to go. We'll put them right here for now. Alright, cool. Yes. So, that's what we're going to do. So what we're doing, I'll read you here what the book says. Having returned to the dungeon once again, you are tracking a pair of deadly zombie beholders that have moved into the area you need to journey through next. You have to get rid of them to continue your quest deeper into the mountain. So, like I said, we have to fight those 2 zombie beholders. The long story short is that we have to find that underground river tile. When we do, we flip it up, and these gentlemen, or gentle ladies, automatically come out, and we have to defeat them to end and complete the mission. Alright, so we're going to be using 3 characters today. I've chosen 3 characters. So we have the fighter. Got a good AC. AC, so I should explain this. AC, so that is the number that you have to make or exceed in order to hit something or something to hit you. HP, 10, that's how many hit points you have. Speed, that's how many squares you can move, not tiles, but squares. And then surge value is we're going to have basically 2 surge tokens, which I forgot to put out, but are right here. And these surge tokens kind of act as, if you've ever played like Shadows of Brimstone or some of the other dungeon crawls, they kind of act like, I won't say a timer, but essentially if we lose both of these or use both of these, and these are gone and somebody needs to use one after they've been killed and are coming back to life, beginning of their turn, we lose. So we definitely want to hold on to those if we can. But we have the Tiefling Fighter. He has a daily power. So there's several different powers. There's at-will powers, utility powers, and daily powers. So his at-will power is precision attack. Okay, so he's basically attacking a monster. Kind of a standard attack. And you'll notice this card does not flip, so we can use that when we attack. And then we have a daily power called Hellish Rebuke. +8 to attack, 3 damage, a minimum of 1 damage, and it's each monster on the tile. So this is kind of like a AoE, right? If things get sideways. When you notice this says flip, and the only way that we get to flip cards back over is to find other cards that will let us do that. Then we have Renowned Adventurer, which we'll come back to in a second, because that's going to actually have something to do to begin with. And then we're going to have Goading Attack. And this is, again, flip over. Essentially, this forces him to be considered the closest hero to each monster in play. So if something says move to the closest hero and it would normally not go to him, this is a way for him to essentially tank and off-tank that hero. So the Renowned Adventurer. So it says draw 1 treasure card. Whoopsie. Draw 1 treasure card, and if it's not an item, discard it and redraw until you get an item which you keep. Afterwards, shuffle the treasure deck together, then and with its discard pile. At the end of the adventure game, if you still have the item, discard. So basically, we're going to start the game with a treasure. So here's a treasure deck. Now, this deck is going to contain a great number of things. It's going to contain coins, which we're not going to use because if you're doing the campaign, that's how you kind of level up and you buy some things that are going to help you do that, items and such between scenarios. So we're not going to do that, but give it a quick shuffle and flip. That is not an item. Boop. Pouch copper, that's what you get. Ring of Evasion. While this is in play, your hero takes 1 less damage than usual from trap tokens and trap cards. Interesting. So that's going to go down here with the fighter. He's going to go back. Excuse me. We'll put those over here. Got a little thing there to the side. Sweet. Also, this fighter's special ability for its class is called Rallying Cry. When you regain HP or spend a healing surge, all other heroes on your tile regain 1 HP and gain advantage. So that's good. We could use that. That's actually come in handy a couple of times. Alright, so that takes care of him. The second hero that I've chosen, Marcon, who is a sorcerer. And his special ability is you may move up to 2 spaces before or after each attack action you take. So that kind of gives him a little bit more mobility. AC 16, HP 6, speed 6, so he's a little bit faster. But he doesn't have many hit points, and his surge value is 3, which generally on everybody means it's half, generally speaking, half of their value, their full HP value. He is at willpower. It's called Font of Magic. I really feel like that should have been Fount, but they call it Font. Essentially, what this card does is it allows us to use these 3 tokens to put on the card when we use other powers. So normally, for example, this Thunder Step. If I had to use this, I would have to use it and then flip it over. With this card, I can actually, when I use this, I can say, oh, no, we're not going to flip that over. We're going to put a token on this card, and then we can reuse this card later. So essentially, it's like, instead of this being a one-time use card, this becomes almost a 4-time use card before we have to worry about finding something else to flip it over. So Font of Magic is a really cool card. I'm not 100% sure why you'd ever not have it, to be honest with you. Then we have Cormac. He is a half-elf cleric. Whenever somebody dies within a tile of you, you basically roll a die. You have a 50-50 chance of them not dying. If you roll 11 or higher, they get 1 HP and they don't die. So that's going to help save these, so we can use those for emergencies or something like that. All right. That's called Circle of Mortality. He has 16 AC, 8 HP, 5 speed. So he's got decent health, decent speed. And his surge value obviously is, again, half of his power. At willpower, Blessed Stake. So this is essentially going to be his attack power. Attack 1 adjacent monster. And if it's undead, he gets additional damage. Whoops. It's a +8 to hit, and it does 1 damage. All the rest of his cards are flip over after use, so we're really going to have to decide if we really want to use these. False Life lets us take 2 tokens, place those on somebody, and that basically becomes additional max HP that they have. Right, so their total is actually higher. Bane says choose up to 3 monsters within 1 tile of your hero. Each of these monsters gain disadvantage. So disadvantage means when they attack, normally you roll a d20. You compare it to the armor class. With disadvantage, you roll twice. Instead of rolling 1 d20, you roll twice, and you take the least value. If you have advantage, you roll it twice, and you take the higher value. So it gives you just a much better chance to hit somebody, essentially. Path of the Grave. Use this instead of an attack action. Choose 1 monster within a tile of your hero. Put the Path of the Grave token on that monster. The monster takes double damage from all attacks until the start of your next turn, at which point the Path of the Grave token is discarded. So it's a way to kind of put almost like a curse on a monster to do tons and tons of damage. Okay, so what else do we need to know? I think that's about it. The rest of it we will talk about as we go. I'm going to use this little money thing as the first player marker, so I don't feel like getting it out. All right, so what's next? Well, we're going to start the mission. All right, we're going to start the scenario. I have a sequence of play card here that I'm going to go through. So basically, there's 3 phases. There's a hero, exploration, and villain phase. And each player does each one of these. And this card will walk you through all the specific steps. There's really not a whole lot of steps to these. It's really a simple game to learn for the most part. I haven't run into anything hugely messed up other than this. And it's not really about how the game plays, but I've shown you the cards, right? So on the back of the adventure book, it says, hey, for your first game, use these people, use these cards. That's awesome. The problem is, like, half the name of these cards on here don't exist. Now, based on the name, I have been able to kind of, like, pick out what I think they meant. But I'm not 100% sure. So I think I've got the right ones. I mean, I know I believe I have the right number of cards as far as like how many they're supposed to have. But, you know, I guess we'll see ultimately what that's going to look like. So this is a top-down view, and I've got another view here. That's not exactly. So this is just kind of another view to show you what's going on. Okay, you can see over there I've got all the cards set up. I've got some of the monsters set out that we'll pull from, and tiles, and you saw a little bit of that in the top-down shot. So I'll be trying to use this to look at player cards if we need to look at the player cards for some reason, or just to kind of give you a little bit different perspective, because I know from the top it's kind of hard to see. Let's move this over here. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. Whoops. From the top-down perspective sometimes. All right. Okay. Is there anything else? I don't think there is anything else. So, with that in mind, let's begin. We'll start. Here is the fighter. And what I've done is just kind of randomly placed them on here. This is the Cleric. This is the Sorcerer. Okay? And let's go to the top so you can see that a little bit better. Fighter, Cleric, Sorcerer. Alright, so we're going to start with the fighter. So the first phase is the hero phase. If you had been killed, you would come back to life, get rid of one of these, reset all your powers, and start with your surge value and HP. So obviously we don't do that. So, second step, we move and then we perform an action, right? And actions are things like another move, so you could really book it if you needed to. Attack, disable a trap, and then your cards may have something to do, may have an action, or the scenario itself sometimes will have a specific action that you can take that's specific to that scenario. So we don't really have any of that. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to right there. And we're going to move. We don't have anything else we can do. So we're going to stop right there. Then we're going to draw a dungeon tile. Okay. Hidden outposts. Heroes who end their turn here do not have to draw an encounter card, even if they do not have, even do not explore a tile. Okay. So this basically, the encounter cards are potentially things you run into. A lot of times they're bad. So this keeps us from having to do that. So we're going to place, let's get that back just a smidgen. Place that right there. He's here, they're there. Now, we look at that tile. We've got 2 monster symbols. What does that mean? Well, that means we go over here to our monster deck, and we're going to draw 2 monsters. Okay? And those 2 monsters are going to be assigned to the fighter. So let's give this another shuffle right quick, just so you know I didn't do anything funky with it. So we have an Intellect Devourer. Okay. And then we have a Flying Sword. Oh, goodness. Flying Sword. All right, so we're going to put that over there. We're going to grab. And now these are two, like, the world's smallest. I mean, look at this. That base is minuscule. You can see how small. That's the. Can't really see it well. Intellect Devourer. Put him right here. Flying Sword. Put him right here. All right. These two cards, right, are going to go to the fighter. Going to be assigned to him. Okay. So now we got to figure out, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? So that's the hero phase. That's literally it. So then the exploration phase is the next phase. I'll put this down here just so you can see. Exploration phase, right? So what are we going to do next? We're going to, we moved and then we didn't do anything else. Then we started the exploration phase because we were at a tile edge. We pulled out a tile because it was unexplored. We drew the dungeon tile. We placed it with its triangle adjacent to the unexplored edge. See, so you see there's a triangle here, right? Just like this triangle here. And we have to match that triangle up with whatever edge we explored from. All right, so we don't get to choose the orientation, essentially. Then we have draw monster cards and place any trap tokens and monster figures indicated on the new tile. We've done that, obviously. So then we have, if you didn't place a tile, which we did, so we don't have to worry about that, or if you placed a tile with a black triangle, notice this is white, then we would draw an encounter card. So fortunately, right, we did not draw a black triangle, so we don't have to do an encounter card. And then activate each monster you control in turn in the order you drew them. So the Intellect Devourer was drawn first. Okay, so let's take a look at its card. So we have each card has a ton of information. You have their AC, their HP, their tactics. So this is basically the AI of the card, what that can do, how it moves, who it attacks, and then if it has any special abilities. So the Intellect Devourer, if the Intellect Devourer is within one tile of a hero, it moves adjacent to the closest hero and devours their mind. So, important to note, let's look at this from the top. So this is a tile, this is a tile, this is a tile. Okay? When you're counting anything that says space on each tile, you've got the square, that's a space. Tiles, you count when it says one tile away, two tiles away. You start from the tile you are, and it's orthogonal. So, for example, if let's say that there was a tile here, for argument's sake. So, if this was the originating tile, one tile away, two tiles away, right? If there was a wall here, this would be 3 tiles away, or it may just be 1 tile away. But right now, for example, this is 1, 2 tiles away. So if it said something about go 2 tiles away, you'd be right there. But it's not. So this says the closest hero within 1 tile. So, boom, here. Now, the other interesting thing here is that you do not have to place, as long as you're adjacent to a hero, that's all you have to be is adjacent. And why do I say that? Because it can be beneficial when you do your placement to place the monsters that somebody pulled the turn before you, where in the next turn, you're sure somebody can go attack them. Because remember, when you find a room, right, I didn't get a chance to attack it. So I'm going to have to suffer an attack basically the first turn. So I have to put the Intellect Devourer adjacent. So I'll place it adjacent. This is where I'm placing it adjacent to, so that's legal. And then it says it devours their mind. Now, this is the other thing that these cards do not do a good job of. Okay, so if you look at this, right, it says nothing. There's nothing that says like devour as an attack. Nowhere. drives me absolutely nuts. So you kind of have to do some creative interpretation. So basically, this Devourer is going to do an attack, +4 attack, and I didn't get out the dice. How did I manage to not do that? Hold on. Hold on. It's right here. I just completely didn't do that. Good job, me. Okay, so he's going to roll D20, add 4 to it, and if he rolls the AC, that's going to be a hit. Now, this particular monster initially doesn't do damage. It just stuns. We talk about stun if it hits. So it's going to stun the hero, but then if it had already hit the hero, it would instead do 5 damage. That's huge. It's a ton of damage. So hopefully he will miss. Now the fighter, fortunately for us, has an AC of 17, so it's pretty high. And the Intellect Devourer only has a +4. So 11 plus 4 is 15, which is not high enough. So it missed. So we are good to go there. Second to attack is the Flying Sword. It says if it's within 2 tiles of a hero, it moves adjacent to the closest hero and attacks that hero with its blade. This hero is the closest to fighter. So we're going to move him here. And again, I'm doing that so that this guy can attack him and this guy can attack the Intellect Devourer before they have a chance to go again. Okay? They're going to have to draw event cards, which could be good or bad. Probably not great, but it is what it is. Alright, so. Alright. So the Flying Sword is going to attack. It says it attacks with its blade. That's a +8 attack with 1 hit. 1 damage. So going for a 17, so we want 9, when you want 8 or less to miss. Holy crap. 16, that is definitely not a miss. So, it's going to do 1 damage. Okay? So the way that I track damage, well, I'm going to use the tokens from the game, but I don't put damage out and then take it off to count it down. I just put damage on. So I'm going to take this token, which normally you have some of these to represent their health, and then I'm going to flip it over. That means they're damaged. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on our hero's card, just like that. So now we know he's got a damage. Okay? Okie doke. Good deal. That means now his turn is done. Okay? So we've went through all the phases. We didn't have any villains in play to activate, so we don't have to worry about that. So now we go to the Sorcerer, who is right here. So the Sorcerer is going to use Thunderclap. Yeah. Is going to use Thunderclap. So remember, with the Sorcerer, his class ability says that he can move two spaces before attack or after attack. I don't want to move him. I think he's good where he's at. So he's going to utilize Thunderclap. It says attack each monster on your tile. If only one monster is on your tile and this attack hits, that monster gets stunned. There's not. There's more than one on our tile. Remember, this is the tile. So he's going to do an attack. It's a +6. My understanding is that this attack we roll is going to be the number. You don't roll separate attacks versus each monster. So we're going to roll this and then compare this +6 result to each one of the monsters on the tile's AC and then apply damage accordingly. So, 18. Epic. So yes, that definitely hits everybody because we have a 15 and a 14 for AC, so even before the +6. So they all take 1 damage. Now, on each card, we will note that they have an HP value, right? Boom, boom. So 1 damage will kill the Intellect Devourer and do 1 damage to the Flying Sword. So the Intellect Devourer is killed. Now, here's an important thing. When these are killed, you'll notice this says, was it 1 experience? So what you do is you hold on to these cards, and again, this is kind of a campaign thing, more so than it is a normal single play. But you can actually hold on to these and spin these experience cards to cancel event cards that come up as you play. So we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to put 1 damage token. If I can get them out. 1 damage token on the Flying Sword. Okay? So that was his attack. Now, exploration phase. If you're adjacent to an explored edge, he's not. Draw monster cards. Villain phase. So we're not at an edge. We're not drawing any tiles, so we go to the next phase. If you didn't place a tile during exploration phase, or if you placed a tile with a black triangle, we did not place a tile. Okay, so we have to draw an encounter card. So here's our encounter deck. All right. Mostly bad stuff. There's a couple cards that are nothing happens, but it's mostly bad stuff. Some environmental things. So we draw an encounter card. There's our encounter card. Elder Rune. Okay, so it says draw an Elder Rune card and roll a d20. On a roll of 10 or lower, resolve the Bane effect. On a roll of 11 or higher, resolve the card's Boon effect. So, let's go over here to this set of cards. Couple cards in this game, folks. Just a couple cards. So we have this Elder Rune deck, okay? And on the back of this card, each of these cards, there's essentially a top and a bottom. One half is the Boon, one half is the Bane. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw our Elder card. And before I look at it, I'm going to roll. 1 through 10, it's the Bane effect. 11 through 20, it's the Boon effect. So the Bane effect means it's going to be a negative for us. Let's see, Bane. Wow. Okay. So it says we got Boon. Oh, sorry. We've got Boon. And then we've got Bane. We're using the Bane effect. Bane, you gain stunned. Discard this card after resolving it. That's just lovely. So, this is not a good way to start. I hope this is not a foreshadowing of like the rest of the game, right? So stunned, we're gonna put that on him. Now again, you can put those on the board, but I like to put them on the player. And then this event card is discarded, encounter card. We run out, we'll reshuffle. Probably won't run out, but we may. So that is the exploration phase. Sorry, the villain phase. For the encounter card, it says if a villain is in play, activate it. And then it says activate each monster you control. Sorry, this goes away. We don't control any monsters because remember we did not do any kind of searching. So Mark-on is done. Alright. Good deal. So we go over to Cormac. Cormac has a speed of 5. We get basically a free move, and then we can attack. So what I'm going to do, and we can move through our heroes. For movement, we just can't stop on the same square. So with a movement of 5, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and he's still adjacent to the flying. Right, so that's his free move. And then he's going to attack. He's going to use his Blessed Stakes, which is this card, which is +8 to hit and 1 damage. It is not undead, so it's just going to be 1 damage if he hits. He gets +8. So we need a 6 or better to hit an AC of 14. There's an 11. 11 and 6 is 17. More than enough to hit the Flying Sword. And the Flying Sword is defeated. It goes into our experience pool with the Intellect Devourer. And there you go. I forgot to do something. So, whenever we defeat a monster, and I do not believe that, I believe it's just 1 treasure card. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I can't remember if it's 1 treasure card regardless of the number of monsters, or if it's 1 treasure card for each monster. Combat. Defeating monsters. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it doesn't matter how many monsters you kill in a turn, you only need to draw 1 treasure card. Okay? So, Marcon did manage to kill a monster, so he's going to draw a card. Fortune Recovery. Play immediately. Your hero gains 1 hit point recharge whenever you use powers or items. So that's an example of how you can recharge anything. I have not used anything to recharge, and I don't have any damage. So that didn't do him any good, really. Cormac is actually just pulled the same card, and yes, I did shuffle these. So that sucks, because that means that those 2 cards are out of the deck, because it says discard them. Ay. Okay. And that is everybody. All right? So Cormac attacked. Oh, this goes off. Cormac attacked. Killed the Flying Sword. And, so that is his turn. Alright, so, next thing we do, now that we've done that, so that's everybody's going once, right? Doop-a-doo. Yeah. So the turn order is fixed, so whoever was the first player is always the first player. It doesn't shift. So we're going to go to Atka, the Tiefling Fighter, back to him. So we'll do his movement. I think we're going to search over... Oh, wait, you know what? We didn't finish out Cormac. So Cormac is going to, after he fights, draw a tile. It has to match on the unexplored edge. It has to match with the arrow pointing this way. We can see from that symbol that you can barely see. Let me scoot this down. It's a problem with this game. It does kind of sometimes scroll. So I may have to actually kind of stack these cards out of the way down here at some point. It has 1 monster, so we're going to draw a monster from the monster deck. There's a few of these, not many. There's a few of these. Do not place a monster. Great. Excellent. We like that. And then, of course, discard after play. Now, we go to that was the exploration phase. We drew the monster card. We placed it, which said don't place any monster. Villain phase. All right, because we have the black triangle, we do have to draw an encounter card. So we're drawing an encounter card. Wow. And brief spot. Nothing happens. Even better. So he does not have an encounter. He doesn't have any monsters to activate. There's no villains for him to activate. There's no monsters that he controls to activate. So yeah, that was very nice. So now we really are to Atka. So he's going to go 1, 2. Yeah, he's going to go there. That's his move.